Okay, here we are. The resumption of the UK saves the world, basically. If you recall, Russia, let me scroll out here. Russia owns all of this, everything, with the exception of on the main portion you see here is Yemen. Other than that, and the Congo Democratic Republic, everything belongs to Russia. It's a vast empire, and the only one standing in their way is the United Kingdom. Now, we've tried unsuccessfully for many years now. You can see the year is 2038. We've been able to hold our island thanks to the Royal Navy. Our astute subs are just splendid. However, the Russian military might is simply overwhelming. We cannot force a landing anywhere near our island. We had decided, with consultation from some allies, there's very few actual allies that are contributing to the war effort. Unfortunately, if you recall, the United States is the richest nation on earth by far. You can see the next closest nation quantity right here. They're remaining neutral. They have decided they fought enough wars in Europe. They want nothing to do with this. We've been trying behind the scenes and publicly to get them to help us out. So far, if you recall, I believe it was the last video, people were starting to wake up to the fact that with Russia controlling such a large territory, the resources and manpower that they have available to them, if allowed to just sit there forever, they're going to be unstoppable. They could never be stopped. Australia sent us some naval vessels. We really needed some help with the anti-air capability of our forces. We were really being pummeled on a daily basis by Russian jets flying from here, and they sank several of our ships. Now, the United Kingdom only has the capability to produce 16 land units, 14 air units, 5 naval units. So you can see when we lose a vessel, it's a huge impact on our military. The Russians, as a little comparison, can produce 461 land units. They can produce 329 air units and 63 naval units. They just have facilities, as you can imagine, just spread across their vast empire. It has necessitated me to play a very, very cautious game because each loss I feel 1,000-fold. I don't have the manpower to just go willy-nilly into the fray. So what we decided was that we would come over and force a landing in the barren Siberian reaches, if you will. It seemed to be our best shot. So this is where I stopped. We had just taken over this airbase to stop those daily harassing, ship-sinking, morale-pounding attacks of the Russians. Again, make no mistake, I am no match for them, Air Force-wise, ground-wise, Navy-wise, or technology-wise. The Russians have a technology factor of 170. Their level is 170. The United Kingdom has 141. There are 31 levels in technology ahead of us. So again, this is a slow, methodical approach. The goal, I've been asked on the forums, after we've been able to somewhat stabilize here, what would we do? I believe the best bet, if we can push in, would be to head south. We really need the resources and manpower that the former China can give us. So as of this start, my goal will be eventually to push in, take in all of eastern Siberia, and then push down. The coastline would be the best option, which would allow us to bring our Navy over and secure. Now, Japan is at war, and if you recall, the Japanese fleet was totally annihilated by Russia years ago. But since that time, in fact, the Russian fighters are ranging daily over Japan. They couldn't stop them. Russia actually mounted an invasion and landed in Japan on the northern islands. And I knew that we really needed Japan to hang around. Again, it's somewhat the same role that we, the UK, played in World War II, an unsinkable island where we could base our planes from, resupply our ships, so forth and so on, right on Russia's eastern doorstep. So we came in with our limited forces. We was able to help them beat back the Russians, and Japan has now built up their Navy again. Again, remember, this is year 2038 now, so they've had many years to rebuild their Navy. It's not what it used to be, that's for sure, but at least their waters are secure. You see very few incursions anymore into Japanese waters. Now this right here was very interesting. You can see the AI. Russia was really just battering the heck out of them coming out of these bases over here. So what the AI did was just stuck its Navy right here to interdict. You can see they've taken a beating a little bit, but they were able to successfully stop the Russian incursions. Now, Russia has started focusing on Taiwan. There were, at one time, many of these battleships sitting here pounding the coast of Taiwan, because all they have to do is go right here to resupply, repair, so forth and so on. And they're so close that they have constant air supply. Air support. It's just been a rough playthrough, I can tell you that. So at any rate, I'm going to restart it. As you are aware, there's just thousands and thousands of Russian units. I've showed before how many Russian units are over here streaming towards us. So the game moves at a very slow pace. But again, I did the math on the forums months ago, and it probably something of the effect of 10,000 units that Russia's got on the move right now. So at any rate, the goal, now that we've secured this airfield, so I'm going to place our special forces on stealth mode and have them move to the main city. Once they've successfully infiltrated the city and embedded themselves there, we'll launch an attack. Now, unfortunately, I've only have 6 brigades left. They're going to have to do the job. In the meantime, I've got the stealth of Swansea here. Swansea, who knows? I'm going to slowly try to start working on this Russian front. I cannot really advance anymore. The quality of my units just cannot stand up. Our ground units are vastly outclassed, outmatched by the Russian units. But we've been able to hold a line simply due to the fact that we have some good supply here. If we were to push forward, we would lose that advantage. So I've been using aircraft to slowly try to work them down. And that's what I'm going to do now, is just start. While these guys are marching down here, I'm going to do my best to work on these a little bit. We neglected them once we had pulled the Navy out earlier to come down and support this operation. We're not going to neglect them right now. We're going to see what we can do. It's very slow and tedious. If I can get my fighter bombers or my multi-rolls, as you can see, these forces were really hammered. They were supporting, and here we go with the Russian aircraft again. These Terror lamps were supporting the invasion down here, and they just totally got hammered. You can see how ate up they are. Ate up they are. Very few are capable. I have 5 that are actually combat ready. but I had to recall them because I can't use them again. I cannot afford to match the Soviets aircraft for aircraft, so I've got to be very judicious in my use of them. Okay, resupplied bombers. Let's head out again. This, again, a slow, methodical approach. It's all I can do, just to try to hold the line. And if it wasn't, honestly, if it wasn't for the aircraft, the Soviets would have already overrun us years ago. We started, if you recall, up here. We built this into a super base, if you will, and we've been able to hold the line. We had expanded down here for supply purposes and have additional airfields. And once we got down here, we built up another base. Again, supply purposes and airfields. That's what it's all about. I want to make sure that the Navy is allowed to attack ground units. They do a wonderful job. We want to entrench. Get a good entrench factor. The reason we don't have any units being produced right now is it was a money issue. Our budget is strained to the max, trying to support the forces that we have arrayed currently against the Soviets. It's forced me to raise prices. As you can see here, our consumers are complaining. Okay, you can see the Russians are really closing in. Our countrymen are complaining that they're having to pay too much for water, but water is what I've been selling in order to help fund me. As you're aware, the Mideast really uses and requires a lot of water. The problem is it's owned by Russia, so I cannot sell water to the Mideast to help fund me. But you can pick and choose certain other countries and micromanage that. I would prefer not to, so that I can micromanage bombers and aircraft, but you do what you have to do. The cost of repairing everything from that last military operation is really hurting us also. You can see our military and preparedness budget, our production facilities cost. It's very, very high. And here we go, the Russians making their move again. Looks like this cargo ship has been repaired and it's got supplies, so we'll move it up. I've got the military set at highest salary levels and the highest maintenance and training. Of course, we're at DEFCON 1. There's really no other way that we can handle or hold this line. And the Soviets, even with that, are more than a match from us on a 1-to-1, even a 5-to-1 basis. As I was starting to say earlier, if I had more terror lamps, and I can hear my submarines, which is probably back the Royal Navy holding off more Soviet incursions at the home island. I do not exactly know where that was at, but a submarine did shoot at something. Let's see if we have any possible any possible multi-rolls that can come out. They're just in reserve. Nope, we do not. They're all being repaired. So we're stuck with I shouldn't say stuck with, I suppose. I do want to put this is a carrier-based plane. I really can't afford to build much more of them. I'll put that back in reserve. Bring a Frez out. Come on, Special Forces, get in there so you can repair. This is going to be problematic very soon, I feel. Okay, we're going to have to work with 11 Terror lamps, as that's really all we have. I'm a little concerned that once I start running Terror lamps again, the Russians, they've got some very long-range fighters. As you can imagine, tech level of 171. Come on, Terror lamps. Work them down, work them down. I think now that we did have that huge Russian Air Force problem, but I believe now that we've captured this base that we don't have that anymore. So what I'm going to do is move a few of my supply vehicles down here to help these planes resupply faster. If you move supply vehicles next to your airports, your airfields, the aircraft will actually supply faster. That's normally a tactic I use to get bombers resupplied much faster. As you can see right here, I've got them surrounding the base so that these bombers will fill up much faster. Let's see what Trinidad into. Okay, they want. They're offering to help us money. Now, this is another thing I want to point out. There's very few countries that are willing to join the fray and actually support us with military forces. But there are some countries that will send us financial aid. Now you can see that they're not at war with Russia. However, they recognize that if left unchecked, Russia's eventually just going to take over the whole world. So they are offering us financial support, and we will take it. We certainly will. Gladly and very appreciatively. Alright. Multi-rolls to the rescue. And it looks like another Terra lamp has come out of repair. The more the merrier. As you can see, these ships have run out of supply. Even though they're in a supplied area, they're firing so fast. When you have maximum maintenance and training, these guys just fire non-stop so fast they literally run out of supply, even with supply ships and in a supplied area. And Supreme Ruler 2020, once a naval unit is out of supplies, it will head back to the last port that it was docked in. That's an issue that many people have a problem with, because they'll send naval forces, for example, from Hawaii all the way across to Japan or somewhere over here near China, and then their units run out of supply and they try to head all the way back to Hawaii when they could go to Japan and get supply, for example, if they're an ally. Honduras would like some. There's some water. Love those water cells. Alright, Swansea. I really wish that we could afford missiles and have a large missile base, but missile capacity, I should say. But as you can see, the Russians have 155 missile fabrication plants. We have 6. So again, it's the proverbial ant biting the elephant, if you will. That was Soviet supply pushing forward. It really is amazing to me. You can see how little supply the Russians have. The nearest supplied area is down here, and we're going to cut that off shortly. There's a little bit of source of supply up here from this really isolated village. But other than that, they have none. But if you recall, I had issues with the Russians having resupply aircraft and helicopters flying throughout here, and I can't always go out and go for them. It's almost a useless endeavor because they can afford to replace them automatically with the build capabilities they have. I'm much better served by working on their front lines. As you can see, we have made an impact with the terror lamps and the multi-rolls here. I think ideally, if possible, if I can afford to wait that long, I'd like to wait until I get this brigade of special forces fully repaired, and then I can have them join the 6 that are down here. And again, Russian planes sniffing around, flying all the way from down here. There's just no stopping them. If I can get... Oh, there goes the submarine firing again. I still think it's at the home islands. Yes, there we go. The Royal Navy has done an admirable job. Let's see if we can pick this one off. He's damaged heavily. Yes! For me, it's a tremendous victory, if for no other reason than morale purposes. Yes, it's just one ship out of the hundreds that they have. If you recall earlier, when the Soviet Union, for example, when France fell, France being here, as you recall, France has territory down here and in the Caribbean. What that meant was that the Soviet Union had bases over here. And for a while, they actually blockaded the Panama Canal. You can see I have substantial naval forces here because I had to come down and clear out the area. It was very nerve-wracking. We did manage to come through and clear out the Caribbean islands. Our invasion force, of course, had to work its way from the home islands all the way around across and over to where we are now. And it was a very precarious route, but on the way we did clear out. You can see we cleared out French Guiana, for example. That was Russian, and we own that now. We cleared out all these little islands that the Russians got, these French islands. So we do have a string of bases for supply purposes in the South Pacific. The problem was it's just a long, long distance. And we had to slowly but surely move our forces over when we first invaded the Siberia. Fortunately, the U.S. did allow us, thank you for the Harpoon missiles, I will take those. Fortunately, the U.S. did allow us to fly through their airspace, but we had to use Canada. So what we did was we ferried forces from the main island across to Canada, resupplied, refueled with aircraft, then flew the aircraft to the western coast of Canada, and then from there flew over to the small U.S. base in Adak, and then flew from there to here. It was a very arduous and long journey, and we don't have the greatest airlift capacity. We had to use 747-400s, which only have a 1,404 ton capacity. So we used virtually every aircraft we had for weeks on end just to get what little forces we could over here. And then, of course, we shipped some via naval unit also. And again, I will sell water to Papua New Guinea. Every little bit helps. Now, what I've been trying to do is, you can see that my GDP is going up. Ideally, I want to try and manage that and keep it down. And the only way that you can do that, or the way that I do it, I should say, is to raise prices on our product. You can see that I've got the minister locked out of all these because I'm manually controlling the consumer products here. Now, they've been complaining, as you saw, about the price for water being too high. But I'm actually going to go ahead and raise the price of electricity to 200%. Because again, I'm trying to manage this GDP. The higher it gets, the more my costs are going to be, because the higher wages my workers are expecting. Let me do some more micromanaging here. Send in the bombers. We've got another Frez ready to deploy after being repaired. I always like that. Take them out. Take them out. Alright. Resupply. Do it again. It's basically just an ongoing process. Every time the Soviets reach right to the front line, we send in the fighters or the multi-rolls to work them back. But you can see they're just steadily coming in. And I did show earlier, some time ago, what I was dealing with. As far as the steady supply of Soviet forces coming through. And I'll show you again by setting these off ground unit attacks. Freshwater. Sell that water. And flying over here. So I don't want them to attack the ground units, I just want them to do recon. Steady supply. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of units. I know it doesn't look that when you're just sitting here fighting on the front line, but it really is daunting. And every now and then I'll catch some Russian resupply helicopters or aircraft over here. Very bad for morale to see all those units. Yes, Guatemala. Thank you. I will gladly accept your donation for fighting on behalf of world freedom. And thank you, Honduras. Same. That's a hefty amount from Honduras. We do appreciate it. Now, Honduras, what I have taken to do, started doing, or what I have been doing, we'll go back to Trinidad and Tobago. You see, they contributed to our war effort. Submarine action again. Right here. Yep, a Nikolai battleship has just left port, and the Royal Navy's right on top of it. Now, since he's right at the entrance to port, he's going to be able. I don't think we can take him out. I think he'll make it back into port for repairs. But oh yes, excellent, we got him. Now they know there's subs sitting right off their coast. I'm going to move them back so they can resupply. They're down to 85% supply. As a total figure, each one is going to be a little different. Some 89, some 84, of course. But at any rate, what I was going to say, that they are helping the cause, even if it's behind the scenes and just financial support. What that means is I'm going to reward them. Now, you can see I've already given them some stuff, but every time a country helps us out, I give them something to say thank you, free of charge. That will help their population out. All right, we're going to do the same for Honduras. Just our way of saying thank you for the show of support. Now, the U.S. obviously doesn't need our help technology-wise. We do appreciate the Harpoon missiles. More action. They just sunk. Royal Navy just sunk a Russian ship out here. We didn't get to see it. We missed it, but I heard it, and I heard the sinking sounds, and I know that this is the pack that fired the weapon. Now we want to move him back now that they're resupplied. Oh, I see they're moving in again. They didn't manage to get this tank in close. Okay, the U.S. doesn't need our help. They were making a purchase. All right, Guatemala. What can we do what technology can we give them? Improve vaccines. We definitely want to help their people. We also want to help Honduras. We'll help them again medically. Helps their population. Trinidad and Tobago accepted it graciously, as well as Honduras. Again, we appreciate any and all help they can give us. Come on, Royal Navy. What are you killing now? Yes, another battleship. Get him before he gets into port. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, move in. Take him out. Oh, he's going to make it. Yes! Another one down. I know I'm overly excited, but again, it's a moral victory. As you know, even though Russia has huge capability to replace their units, a battleship takes a long time to replace. So again, every little bit helps. Now let's work this bulge right here. And take out these if we can. GDP still going up. Guatemala graciously accepts. We do appreciate their contributions. And Honduras graciously accepts. Come on. Alright, this is maybe somewhat boring, but it's a necessity. It has to be done. I'm going to stop this video right here. You can see the Russian fighters that were coming here periodically have damaged the 1367th Infantry Special Forces. And Japan has moved a stealth bomber up. I wonder what they plan on doing with it. They didn't consult me. They're welcome to use the base, of course, as long as I have no fighters there. Because after all, we are allies. Something... They might be getting ready here. They're moving forces north, and they've moved their air forces north. It's possible that the Russian aircraft that have moved to this base when we took over this have been causing issues with the Japanese here. It's very difficult. You can see all these air defense units. They've got an advanced radar station and 4 air defense units there. So for Japan to fly any aircraft in this area is very, very dangerous for them. But I'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't know what they're up to. Maybe they're going to assist with taking over this town. Alright, well, at any rate, you can see the method that I'm using. I'm rewarding people for helping us behind the scenes. We do accept contributions as they are required. I'm trying to lower my GDP to help our economy by increasing the prices of various consumer goods. Now, I don't mean consumer goods as in the actual product consumer goods, but assets that are being used at home. I'm going to move timber up now to 150. Again, many people forget that this slider doesn't seem to move very well, but if you press Alt while you're scrolling your mouse wheel, it moves in very small increments, so you can actually get any number you want. If you hold Shift while you're moving your mouse wheel, it moves in very large increments. Normally, you can see here, normal mouse will move it from 125 to 121. If I hold Alt, it moves from 125 to 124. If I hold Shift, it moves from 125 to 89. So again, to move large increments, hold Shift, scroll the mouse wheel. To move small increments, hold Alt, scroll the mouse wheel. And I will end right here. Ciao.